Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a case that's, well, it's just shocking. It didn't start with a missing person report or a frantic call. Nope, it started with an object, a single, heavy blue drum. And what was inside? That would uncover a story of love, betrayal, and a murder so gruesome it's hard to even imagine.
So right off the bat, this was the central mystery for investigators in Meerut, India. You have this drum, and something is very wrong with it. The question hanging in the air was simple. What on earth is inside? The answer, as they were about to find out, was just unimaginably brutal.
All right, let's get into it. Section 1, a gruesome discovery. It all starts with that drum and what it was hiding.
So picture this. It's just a normal day. A couple of laborers get a call to a house in Indiranagar. The job? Super simple. Just move a big plastic drum. Sounds easy enough, right? But right away, something was way off. This thing was heavy. And I don't mean just a little awkward to lift. We're talking impossibly heavy. It was the first huge red flag.
And then came the smell. As they're trying to move this thing, this just awful, overpowering odor hits them. At that point, they knew. This was absolutely not a normal moving job.
So they called the police. And that one phone call, it was the thread that would unravel a crime so meticulously planned, so horrific, that it had been hidden right there, in plain sight.
Okay, let's talk about the victim and the crime itself. Who were the people involved in what police were about to uncover? Because let me tell you, this was no random act of violence, not even close. At the heart of it all was this tragic love triangle. You had the victim, Saurabh Rajput. He was 35, a former merchant navy officer. Then there was his wife, Muskan Rastogi. And finally, Muskan's lover, Sahil Shukla.
And what the investigation uncovered was just chillingly methodical. I mean, look at these steps. First, Saurabh was drugged by his own wife on the night of March 4th. Then, he was murdered by Muskan and her lover, Sahil. And it doesn't stop there. His body was then cut into about 15 pieces. And to conceal it all, the body parts were sealed inside that blue drum with cement. This wasn't a crime of passion. This was a cold, calculated, step-by-step execution.
So the murder itself was horrific. But for the accused, that was just Act 1. Now we get to the cover-up, a truly calculated deception.
This timeline really lays out just how premeditated the whole thing was. Police found that the planning for this murder actually started way back in November of 2023. I mean, that's months of planning. The murder itself happens on March 4th, 2025, and then, get this, less than a week later, Muskan and Sahil are off on a trip to Himachal Pradesh. Why? To build their alibi.
And this is where it gets even more twisted. To create this alibi, they used Saurabh's own phone during their trip. Imagine that. While his remains were literally sealed in cement back at the house, they're sending messages from his phone to his friends, to his family, making it look like he's alive and well and just enjoying a vacation with them. It's just a whole other level of deception.
So, with all this planning, this digital deception, how did it all fall apart? What was the key that unlocked this whole case? Well, the answer came from the most unexpected and, frankly, the most heartbreaking source you could possibly imagine.
The key to the whole case was the victim's own little girl. She was talking to some neighbors, and she said something so simple, so innocent. "Papa is in the drum." Just those 4 words. From a child, that was it. That was the statement that brought the entire house of cards tumbling down.
And once that statement was out and the drum was opened, well, the police had everything they needed. They put together a massive case against the couple. We're talking a charge sheet that was over 1,000 pages long. That's how much evidence they had.
So, what was in that massive charge sheet? The prosecution's case was just rock solid. You have the daughter's statement, of course. You had the actual physical evidence, the victim's remains in the drum. You had the fake alibi trip to Himachal Pradesh, and you had proof that this was all premeditated with planning starting way back in November 2023. On top of all that, the investigation also found that both Muskan and Sahil were addicted to drugs, which might give us a glimpse into a possible motive. Okay, so it seems pretty open and shut, right? A horrific crime, clear perpetrators, tons of evidence. But then, the case took a completely unexpected turn. A development inside the jail threw a massive wrench into everything, raising a really profound legal and ethical question. During a routine health checkup in jail, it was discovered that the accused, Muskan Rastogi, was pregnant.
Just like that, the entire focus of the case shifted.
And this puts the legal system at a huge crossroads. Think about it. On one hand, you have the prosecution's case, which is all about the absolutely heinous nature of this crime, the premeditation, the brutal dismemberment, the cover-up. They're arguing for the harshest possible penalty. But on the other hand, you have these legal and ethical questions. Indian law does consider the health of a pregnant accused and her child, but, well, how does that apply in a case this severe? It raises these incredible questions about sentencing and justice.
And that brings us to the really difficult question that this case leaves us with, a question the Indian legal system now has to wrestle with. When justice and biology collide like this, what is the right path forward? What happens when justice for the dead clashes with the life of an unborn child? There's really no easy answer to that, is there?